if you're somebody who just like, you hate the way you look, you're not proud of the man that you see in the mirror, you look at yourself, you say, man, I'm overweight, I'm too skinny, I don't I don't look the way I wish I did. You know, I want to be more muscular, or I want to be, I want to have that runner's body, those abs, and that sleek look. And I wish I looked better. I wish that my skin wasn't so like pale and pasty and unhealthy looking. I look like it's made out of fucking dough. I've been there before. I've been there before. I'm telling you that transforming yourself, it is very, very simple, but it's not easy. But you can make it easy. So transforming yourself, it's very simple, but simple and easy are not the same thing. And so I'm going to talk to you about, how do you make it simple? How do you take something that is simple, and that it could be extremely hard, like transforming your body, but you can make it, by recognizing that it's simple, you can make it very easy. So what you do is you take a very hard task and you break it down. First, you recognize the fact that it could be a fairly simple thing if you break it down into individual pieces. And so I learned that, from a young age, repairing cars. I grew up pretty poor, so I was learning how to fix cars, and I always had to fix my own car. And changing the water pump on a Jeep, for example, it sounds like a pretty difficult task. If you tell somebody, man, if I asked you, can you go change the water pump on a Jeep, or change the water pump on an Audi, right? Like, you may not have a Jeep or an Audi, and you go, man, that sounds kind of hard. But if you go on YouTube and you watch the videos on how to do it, okay, you realize, all right, first we're gonna make it easy by going to a free online source, watch a video on how to do it, okay? And then you break down this amorphous task of changing the water pump into simple tasks. So first you gotta buy a water pump. You gotta buy the correct water pump. So you figure out the year, make, and model of the car, you buy the correct water pump. Then you locate the water pump inside the car. Where is it inside the engine? Then you figure out how many screws you have to take out, what kind of tools you need to remove the water pump. Oh, you need to buy a gasket, because that's what the videos tell you. You have to buy a gasket to replace it. When you take the old water pump off, you got to take off the old gasket, put a new gasket on. You follow the steps, you break them down into simple tasks. I mean, right there, I just pretty much broke down the idea of replacing. I've never replaced, well, I have on a Jeep and on a Audi. I've done both, right? But whatever, I just broke down how complicated a task can be. I broke it down into something that's hard, into simple tasks that make it now very easy. I mean, I just very quickly explain how to do it, right? So it comes down to the same thing with transforming your body, if that's what you want to do, or transforming your mind. So let's talk about transforming your body. If you want to look like, I don't know, The Rock or Arnold Schwarzenegger or something like that, right? First off, to transform your body, you have to say, I want to do it. Then let's break it down into simple tasks, right? If I want to get very big and muscular, how do I do it? The first thing that you do is you say, I want to get big and muscular. But how big? How muscular, right? You have to have the end goal in mind, and you have to make it a very clear goal. So one of the best things to do is go find your favorite actor, your favorite pro wrestler, your favorite UFC fighter, whatever it is, whoever it is that inspires you to have a muscular body. Maybe it's a photograph of a soldier in training that you saw somewhere, or maybe it's even a painting or a drawing of something that you saw. The point is go find that picture, print it out, and put it somewhere that you can see it every day. In my case, I have a pro wrestler that I loved from childhood, and I said, why can't I look like that dude? So I printed out a picture of him, I have him in my office, and I could see him every day and say, I want to look like that guy. And every day, go to the gym, and I see myself, and I look at myself, I'm getting there. My arms are not even halfway there, but I'm getting there, right? I'm slowly working my way towards it. So I'm just gonna choose a generic. I don't know. You don't have to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but maybe you want to look like Jason Statham or any of the guys who played James Bond. You might want to look at an older James Bond, a newer one, an old Pierce Brosnan James Bond, whatever, right? You want to look like that person physically, then print out a picture and have an end goal in mind of what I want to look like. So that's step one. Step two of this hard thing of changing your body is to understand and accept that it is going to take time. It is going to take time and consistency. It's going to take the habits to get there. So you have to come to grips with the fact that it is going to take time. That's a pretty simple it's a pretty simple task to execute. Task one, print out a picture or know who you want to look like. Task two, simple task. Understand and accept that you are going to take a lot of time to build yourself up. I don't know where you are. I don't know if you already look like me or better, or if you're athletic, or if you haven't been to the gym in 20 years. It's gonna take time to build up your ligaments, your strength, your muscles, your musculoskeletal system, your body's ability to sit there and do repetitive motions over and over again. You heard of tennis elbow, right? If you're gonna sit there and try and work on your biceps, you're gonna be sitting here and doing this motion over and over again every day for the next, 2 years, 3 years. So you can build yourself up. It's gonna take time. And it's a hard fact to accept, but it is simple. And if you just understand that the only reason that it's hard for me to accept this is because it's something in my mind that's making me think, God, I don't know if I want to accept this. Man, it's so hard for me to understand and grasp it. Oh, it seems like such a long time. How long? What, 6 months, 10 months, a year, 6 years? I don't know. How long is it going to take? You can just realize that you're blocking yourself. So it's a simple thing. It's a hard truth to accept, but it's a simple task. Therefore, make it easy. Just make it easy on yourself. Say, okay, it's going to take a long time. Then go online, go on YouTube, wherever, and go find a simple workout routine. Don't do something crazy and complicated. My wife, she does crazy complicated Pilates routines where they're doing different moves every day, and that works for her. Maybe you want something like that. In my case, I kept it simple because I wanted to make it as easy as possible for me. So I have some very basic moves that I do every day. I just repeat those every day. Now I work out my back and my biceps on one day. I work out my chest and my triceps on another day. So I alternate. And so my schedule it's done because you need to give your muscle time to rebuild and rest, and so and avoid injury. So you can't sit there and just do biceps every day over and over and over again. I mean, you can. It's just that's not my routine. So find some simple set of exercises that you can do and stick to those. And the hardest part of all of that is to stay consistent. Just repeat. Keep doing it over and over again. And you realize it's all fairly simple. It's simple. You just need to repeat what you did yesterday, do it again today, and do it again tomorrow, do it again the day after. Just create a system for yourself. Some people call it habits. You can make it habits, you can make it a system, but create that and stick to it and just repeat over and over and over again. Look, changing your body is a hard thing because it takes time and it takes consistency. but it's all fairly simple, right? You get to the gym, what do? You pick things up, you put them down, and then you run on a machine, on a treadmill or an elliptical, or you go run in a circle around a fucking track. That's not hard. It's fucking simple. It's easy. You're just running in a fucking circle. God damn it. It's not that hard. Right? So, you can do it. Another way of transforming yourself is transforming your mind. And that's actually very much an important part of transforming your body. Is, if you want to be more disciplined, or you want to sound like more of an intellectual, whatever it is, whatever your goals are, you want to be more motivated or something like that. You want to be a more positive person. It's the same thing as working out your body. Think about, who do you want to emulate? Who do you want to be like? Right? Do you have an influencer or an actor or a character from a movie who is you're very attracted to? Do you want to be like, do you want to be like John Rambo, for example? That's, a very famous character people like. Or, I don't know, maybe one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. There's all these people out there. Look, I love the Star Wars franchise. I wouldn't call myself a Star Wars nerd, but there's a lot of Star Wars nerds who are like, I want to be a Jedi. They want to be in the mind of a Jedi. They want some level of stoicism, positivity, mental and physical strength, right? And you want to be a Jedi. You want to be like, you want to emulate Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Or something like that. Is there maybe an athlete who you really respect and you want to be like, I don't know, LeBron or Michael Jordan? You want to have that same mindset, and you want to emulate that strength, that quiet, stoic badassery that they have. Maybe there's some loudmouth, tough UFC fighter, and you're like, I want to be able to talk like that guy and back myself up, with my words, with my physical prowess, like Conor McGregor. You want to be able to talk shit and be a total badass. If you want to be like that person, you want to have that mindset, then once again, identify who it is that you want to emulate, and then you can start acting like that person. But it's not just acting like that person. You have to become that person, right? If you want to be like a Conor McGregor, guess what? You're going to have to learn how to fight. You're going to have to know how to be as much of a badass as he is. So go join a UFC gym so you can start actually building. And I said, sorry, UFC gym, okay? Go join a BJJ gym or whatever, right? Go do some martial arts. Go become a master in something so that you can also be able to talk like him and back yourself up physically like him. If you want to be a sharp-witted intellectual, you want to sound like some scientist who you really like hearing on podcasts, or some doctor, well, you can become like that person. Do it by studying the same materials that they do, right? If there's somebody out there who speaks a lot of scientific knowledge and then they intertwine philosophy into their conversations, and you love how they do that, well, then go read the books that they read. Go find out what books they read, right? If there's somebody who you really like, you can Google their name and go to their personal websites and go find out, if they're a teacher at a university, they will have a faculty page and they'll, explain, these are my favorite books, or this is what I have my students read. You can follow that person and read the same things that they read. Do the same things that they do. Consume the same information that they do, and you're going to start repeating and emulating that information. Act the way that they act. I wanted to be like some of these YouTuber influencers who helped change my life. One of the things that they do is, guess what? They have a YouTube channel. So I had to go out and make one. Why? Because I want to be more like that, like those people. I want to be somebody who is very positive and actually gives value to the world. And this is a great free platform where I can do that. So I recommend you do the same thing. Right? It's just, if you want to transform your mind, go find somebody who you really like and then follow and do what they do, right? If they wrote a book, Sit down and start thinking about, how am I going to write a book? Am I going to write a book about the same kind of topics that they have? You have to sit there and you got to learn about all those topics. You don't have to, if there's a doctor who they'll say, oh, I got to go to medical school and become a doctor, unless you want to do that, which would be great. But if you just want to become like that person and adopt their mannerisms, right? Like you don't have to necessarily become a Hollywood actor to, act like some character. But you can still study that person, study the character, and adopt their mannerisms. Read the same things that they've read. You don't have to go to medical school to buy a medical textbook and read it, or to read some research papers on a medical topic. So, once again, take something very difficult, break it down into simple tasks. I've done it multiple times. I've done it with work. I've done it for working on cars, on engines. I did it with school. School sucks, going to university. Not everybody likes it. I'm not somebody who, and I say school sucks in terms of, that there are some classes that you don't want to take. Getting tested, taking quizzes, pop quizzes, being in those level of stresses is not much fun. But, when you're studying something you really enjoy, yeah, it's fun. But ultimately, you take something as difficult as getting 2 master's degrees, which is something I did. You break it down to the simple tasks of, okay, I have to read this many chapters of material, and then I have to take a quiz or an exam where they're going to test me on that material. If I read this material, then I take notes, and I read and study my notes again. I do that several times. Then I take the exam. I'm going to perform well on the exam. It's simple tasks. Read, take notes. Read, take notes, take exam. Right? Very simple tasks. You break it down into simple tasks. You make it easy. And therefore, school can become very easy if you just break it down into simple tasks. So, don't overthink things, don't overcomplicate them, because that's what most people do. Just keep them very simple, break down a hard thing into simple tasks, and you'll make it very easy.